Cheer. Welcome. Are we doing an intro on every episode?
I don't know. Viewers, let us know.
Oh yeah,
Listeners, viewers, let us know. I don't know. I mean,
is it recording?
yeah, we're recording.
Oh shit, we're live. All right,
We always live.
we live. If you hear an
Uh,
echo, I'm sorry.
yeah, we're working on it. Technical difficulties.
Technical
Learning new stuff.
difficulties. Yeah.
But yeah, let us know if you guys want us to do an intro, or you guys want us to go straight into talking.
I mean, shit. I think. Or wait, do we not swear in this? No, we can swear.
Yeah, I think it'll be alright. I think most people listening to this are of age.
If you want earmuffs, we'll bleep it out. We'll figure out how to bleep it out. Yeah, it's a whole process we're learning here.
Yes, this is episode 4.
4. Yeah,
I think
4.
4. Yeah. Wow, it's not like we haven't done that many episodes. And we don't even know which one we're on.
You know, it all kind of blends together because these are just like streams of consciousness. Sorry, I got something on my face. But yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome back to Dudes.Done.Deal. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Mark, and this is
Ricky.
And yeah, we're Dudes.Done.Deal. Do you want to say it together? 1, 2, 3. Dudes.Deal.
It's never gonna work. I don't know why we keep trying.
Yeah. Well, we gotta try.
You gotta try. You
gotta try. We gotta try. You gotta try. That's the whole point of this podcast. We don't give up. Yeah. Welcome to episode 4. Today I think we want to talk about just working out your body, working out your mind, and kind of how these two things intersect, and how it can be beneficial, but also not put too much pressure on yourself one way or the other. It's all about finding that balance. And yeah, I think this was my idea for an episode. So
Yeah.
I think I'll just dive in. I think moving to Oregon from San Francisco, there was a lot of weather impacting my mental health, and it actually came out this week. There was an article, some meteorologist company or data scientist came out, and the list of the top 10 cloudiest cities in Oregon is, I think Portland, Oregon is number 7 in the US. Seattle's number 1. No surprise there, but it just put perspective too. I think the impact that your physical environment can have on your mental health. And I found that, working out, I try to do 3 to 4 or 5 times a week, depending on kind of my energy levels. But, really realizing the last 3 days I've worked out in a row with this rainy weather, it, it's really allowed my mind to wake up a little bit more and kind of separate itself from the cloudiness outside. That for me at least, I suffer from depression and like seasonal affective disorder, so it really has this broad stroke impact on me. And you know i'm uh I'm out here because my family's out here, and as the parents get older, I want to be around to be where they're at. But at the same time, it's also coming to a place where if I'm going to be here, I need to recognize how to work with my environment and make sure that I'm not letting my mental health go by the wayside. Something that's really helped me is just going to the gym. Honestly, even just 15-20 minutes on that stairmaster, and I'm in like a different mental state already. It's almost like I leave this tired state behind. This kind of place of sitting in my office and just working all day in the rain to at least being able to get that energy back. And I think it's important to talk about how to take care of yourself physically so that mentally you can be dialed in too. I feel like if one starts to slip, then the other one kind of can start to slip. And you know I also realized too, this past week in talking to my therapist, it's like sharing my updates on the Apple Watch got a little too much because I started to get inputs from everyone else of how well they were doing the workouts. You can follow each other on your watch.
Yeah.
And I was realizing that was actually bringing me down because a lot of people on the East Coast or whatever, and they're knocking their workouts out early, and so I'm waking up and it's like, oh, X, Y, and Z's done, they're done, and then I start comparing myself. We all know comparison is, there's there's a saying was, it's like, comparison is essentially like one of the worst things you can do, right? Because you're setting yourself up against someone else when you have no control over that person's life. And I think for me, it's like realizing, getting the mental part of the workout down, right, and not kind of comparing myself to how other people are doing, or if they've got their workouts down. Now I will say, this app that Ricky shared me, Heavy, shout out to Heavy, is different because it turns it into a celebration of your own personal workouts and allows you to track how you're doing. And you can choose to follow people, you can choose not to follow people, but with the Apple Watch, I found that it's almost a little too much for me, right? Because it vibrates on my wrist when someone's done it. Like, it becomes a little too disheartening, I think, when I start to look at that. But finding that app, finding the heavy app, being able to like track my own stuff, my own progress, and then seeing when I hit my own PRs, and just the monitoring of control, with the mind and body health, and realizing you do have control over what inputs you're getting, and then figuring out what works and what doesn't work. Just because it works for other people, it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. But pause there and just kind of let Ricky jump in a little bit in terms of how his mental physical connection has kind of been built out over the last few years. I think you're a great example of someone who found a good balance and continues to adjust the workouts to meet their mental health and exhaustion.
Yeah. Actually, the quote of the day that I had that I was gonna say for later, you kind of already said it, but I have this little, like a little 2x4. I don't know what it is. It's a small little poster that's next to my little bedstand. And one of the last quotes that it says is, take care of your mind and body because one struggles to survive without the other. And I think that's very, very key. Like you got to have both in order to have a balanced life. Um, but going
I
back
love
to what
that.
you was saying, a great way that I figure out how to find that balance is uh, taking those rest days. I know we talked about this before, having those relaxed days. I use part of that day to kind of look and see how far I've gotten for this week, and where I found my struggles and how I could refix those or make them a little bit better for the next week. With having a hectic schedule, like most people, I mean, I don't have kids or anything like that, but I do have a pretty hectic work schedule, and then I try to fit in everything I can. So, taking that day to reflect and see, like, how can I fit this without being frustrated about not fitting this? Because that became my problem. Is once I started realizing that I got the drinking out of the way, and I started like accomplishing these goals, and I saw myself meeting these challenges that I haven't ever met before. I started putting more and more and more on myself to continue to do more of these challenges and complete them, which is great and it's fine. But um, as my therapist said, you have to find that stopping point because it's great that you're doing this, but you're going to wear yourself out, and then you're going to get frustrated because now you're not hitting the certain goals you want to meet. So, like right now, last year, I was doing like Duolingo like 20, 30 minutes a day, like banging it out because I know I was going to Italy. So I was like, okay, I want to know as much as I can. And now that I'm not going, that incentive to not do it for 20, 30 minutes isn't there. And I was getting frustrated because I wasn't doing it 20, 30 minutes.
Mm,
And then I was
hmm.
like, okay, why is it that I'm not? And I was like, because I'm not going. Like there's that excitement level that's like, oh, I'm actually going to go to this country that speaks a different language. Like I want to be able to speak. So now
Yeah.
that I'm not going, it's kind of like, all right, it's taking the back burner, but I still continue to do it every day, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Just do like the little practice hub and just get it done. At least it's there, and I'm okay. Like I might not be learning as much, I might not be retaining as much, but at least I'm continually learning the basics and reminding myself the basics. So at least I have a basic understanding.
Yeah,
And
you're
I've
getting I was gonna say I think it's important to outline what I'm hearing is like you're seeing your time is like this pie chart, and
yeah.
the pie pieces are changing depending on kind of like what your priorities are
Mhm.
and your goals are. And it's it circles back to your brain loves this predictability and these patterns. And right, like you might be frustrated because you weren't doing that 20-30 minutes, but
Yeah.
your goals have changed, right? So you're
Yeah.
changing that pie size. And I
Yep.
think that's an important thing to highlight is when you're talking about body and mind and that connection of what are my goals, priorities, and what am I giving my time to? Like, energy is the only currency, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's important. So sorry, I just wanted to call that
No,
out
you're
because I
good.
think
No,
that's
it's
that's an
perfect. That's
important.
pretty much what I was trying to say. Is like eventually you're gonna take that day and you're gonna realize like that priority isn't as big, and so when you're not meeting that goal that you were before, it's not gonna be like that stressor that you continue to put in your life. So
Yeah,
take that day to look at your goals and say, "Hey, you know what, I could take a back burner on this and focus on that."
and
So
it's good, I think, to have that refresh of goals with priorities, right? And similar to working out too, it's we've all seen the explosion of like the climbing gyms or like the parkour kind of stuff where, it's like people are finding something that gives them that workout, whether it be, climbing or the traditional, not, hit the gym after work or before work or during lunch, but it's like, yeah, it's finding what allows you to hit those goals based on your priorities in an entertaining way, right? Where you're not
Yeah,
feeling this like weird pressure or, you know, this fear. I think, and anyone that starts working out is going to have that initial like fear of like, oh man, you know, you're going in, and you're going to see a bunch of people that have been doing it for a long time, right?
yeah,
And when you ask, not this is just from experience, but 9 times out of 10, those folks that are the most skilled in any of these things you go and do in terms of like a workout are the ones that are the most helpful and like supportive, or most encouraging, I think, to newcomers, because they
yeah.
see that you're trying, that the benefit there is there, and you're recognizing it. And I think a lot of that body mind is being in an environment that supports your goals, right? Don't if you go to a gym and people are not friendly, they're not receptive, don't go to that gym.
Yeah.
Don't let that be the deterrent. But finding that place of comfort, solitude, welcoming, and also it aligns with your goals and priorities. That's kind of that balancing act. You know, I live in an apartment that has a gym in the basement, so that's nice. It's a really nice gym. Um, and for me too, a part of it's like a way to meet people that I live in the apartment building with, and kind of like build out that community, because you see them pretty consistently. And I think a gym or wherever you're doing your workouts, physical movement is a great opportunity to expand kind of on your community, right? And
Yeah.
meet people that are a little more aligned with maybe the same goals, or going through the same things. Um, a lot of people that I know that work out do it mainly for like mental health benefits. The
Mm.
physical is like the secondary now. It doesn't have to be everyone, but it's pretty surprising, I think, when you realize how many people are going through something mentally, and these things that you might have been comparing yourself to in terms of not hitting the gym, or not doing those workouts, are really the antithesis of why they are working out. They're not competing against you. They're just looking to improve themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. The gym for me after all my stuff happened, like that's where I went to find my mental escape. And after some time, I started to realize like I'm so tired after the gym that I don't even have the time to think about other things because of like my back hurts or my shoulder hurts in a good way, just like from working out. So like I'm thinking
Yeah.
about those more than my own mental problems that I have going on for that day, or like even if it's a long day at work, going to the gym and just being able to work out and take out that frustration in a healthy way. The
Yeah.
gym is definitely the place to be, and you're also right. Like, I've gone to this gym for like the last 2.5 years. And I love it. Before it was a smaller gym, now it's kind of blown up to a bigger gym. But I met a lot of cool people from there. A lot of people with the same mindset. Going to the gym before I stopped drinking, it was kind of just I'm in there and I'm out because I either don't want to be there, still hungover from a couple days ago, or something like that. But now that you're there consistently, you see the same people. But you go to the gym, you meet these people, and they're like, "Yeah, I don't drink." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know that." Like, I thought everyone drank. Like, no, because it's gonna ruin my, my
Yeah.
progress in the gym. I'm like, oh my god. Like, I mean, I always understood that, but I didn't think people actually did that. And
Yeah.
they may drink, but it's not to like that heavy extent to the people that don't go to the gym that just continue to drink.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Yeah. So shout out to the gym because you'll meet some really cool people. I mean, obviously, not everyone's not going to be on that same level, but you will meet those people and you'll vibe with them and you'll make good
Yeah.
friends. So
And it's that community right there of like, all
yeah.
right, there are other people who are doing the same thing, maybe for different reasons, maybe for the same reason, but you're able to kind of connect with that underlying motivation of health, and like aligning to your own priorities and goals. And yeah, the big gyms are great, small gyms are great. Getting outside, doing like walking groups, and you know volunteer work is also another good way to have that body mind balance, where you might be like, I used to do some volunteer work over in the Muir Woods, north of San Francisco. If you ever go there, check out those curbs. They're
Beautiful.
painted yellow. Yeah, I painted those. Me and a bunch of coworkers did those curbs. Did the curbs in the East Bay at the Children's Museum. Shout out to San Francisco. Shout out to Muir Woods, John Muir. Beautiful woods. If you want to check out some good redwoods, check them
Yeah.
out. Just north of San Francisco. But I think there are many ways to also combine that body mind connection. And if it's not going to the gym, maybe it's volunteering, maybe it's shoveling dirt for the park service, maybe he's cleaning off graffiti off the buildings. Although you got to be kind of careful with that. You never know whose graffiti you're touching.
Like, hey, I just did that last night.
I mean, there's some good graffiti. Like there are true artists out there, and then there's like just the chicken scratch stuff that just like I'm not an overly big fan of. I love art, but you know, uh, some graffiti is just beautiful. Just maybe not my style and the other stuff. No offense if you do the chicken scratch graffiti. It's everyone's learning, but yeah, kind of getting derailed there a bit. But yeah, I find that when I'm in the gym, similar to what you said, it's like that stress from the day just kind of melts away. Like I allow the gym to be a place where I'm able to focus on what stresses me out, and then also be very cognizant of allowing it to like dissipate with every kind of lift I'm doing. When that sweat starts to break, like my whole body, it's so weird. Like I won't sweat, and then all of a sudden I'm just drenched head to toe, and it's like that's like the physical representation of me letting go of a lot of that stuff,
Yeah,
and it feels good. All of a sudden, it's like yeah, you're just like drenched, and you're like all right, and you feel just lighter, like
yeah,
physically lighter.
yeah. You're over it. You're tired. Like I don't have the energy to spend on whatever's going
Yeah,
on from the day. You're like, it's done. So bring it
yeah.
into the gym and you leave it at the gym. So that's how I try to do it.
Also cold showers. uh
Yeah.
if you want to get into it, I'm not a doctor. Well, I'll just throw that out there, but I've talked to a few. I've read some books. And yeah, one of the things that I like to do too, if that work stress is really bugging me, is after the gym, just take a cold shower for like 5 minutes, like on the coldest setting. And I think they don't recommend going over 3 to 4 minutes, so be careful because you can get like hypothermia in your own shower, and like
Jeez.
it can be, yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's
I
true,
was like, you
but
gotta be cold as hell.
it does. What it does too, it's like triggers your white blood cells or something to go in there and clean out all the cortis was it what was it cortisone? No, I don't know what the chemical is, but it's the stress chemical that's in your body. But yeah, basically when you do that cold shower, hot to cold like that, it's like
Oh,
triggering your immune system to go in and clean out those gnarly chemicals that are left over from the day. So,
oh,
you
that's
know,
smart.
yeah, I do it sometimes if I know I'm having a big work day coming up and I won't be able to work out till later. I'll start with the cold shower and just to like get the body ready and mentally there. It also is a good way to wake up. I'm not a morning
Yeah.
person, and I have 8 a.m. calls every day, and it's tough for me because at nighttime I like to do my art, I like to do my meditation, and but that's a little trick of the trade that I realized for me is a nice cold shower in the morning. That'll wake me up, and I'm sure my
Yeah.
neighbors probably hate it because I always go woo, pretty loud. So they all probably know that I'm showering, or like,
Yeah.
or they're like, I don't know what's wrong with my neighbor, but he
Uh,
does this
Like,
thing,
yeah, is the Ric Flair in there today?
Yeah. He might be, because man, I tell you, it's one of those things too where I stare at the shower knob and I'm like, oh man, here we go, and I just crank it down to that coldest setting, and it's like, ooh. But it also what it does too, it reminds me of the control I have over how I'm feeling, right? Like I'm literally changing my physical environment to control how it's making me feel, and
Yeah.
realizing that like you have a bunch of different levers and ways to adjust how you're feeling, both literally and figuratively in your head, and that talk track. And I think it just ties together nicely with that mind body, you know looking at different aspects of your day and your routines to align with getting to that mental health place that you're trying to get to. um, but it's been interesting for me too. I think just in terms of working out, like it came and went, and now I'm back on it. But I think the most important thing was not judging myself for when I wasn't working out as consistently as I wanted to. But I did realize pretty quickly the kind of impact it has on me mentally, and like especially in these rainy seasons, man, I definitely need to be working out. And it
Yeah.
just, as soon as I walk through the doors to the gym, it's like, all right, let's go. The lights kind of come on, and it's that second wave of energy. And I don't take any pre-workout yet, but I definitely am thinking about it because man, I'm tired at the end of the day. It's the
Yeah.
toughest thing to go and be like, all right, after 8 9 hour days, mentally working, you do a more physical job, and so I really know that I'm like I need to move my body. But it's tough, man. You be tired as heck and just
Yeah. You
moseying it on down. You just got to get it though.
just gotta get it. That's all
Yep,
it takes. I think that's a
all it
good thing that
takes.
you bring up too. Is you get to that point where you kind of get down on yourself by seeing other people. So for those that are getting into working out and stuff, you just realize that delayed gratification is huge. You're going to learn a big thing about delayed gratification because you're not going to see the results you want to see the same day, the next day, a week, a month, 2 months. I've been doing it for consistently now for 2 years. Um, but I'm still not to where I would like to be, but that's because I see myself every day.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but just remember, that there's a huge underlying lesson that you're going to learn from going to the gym is learning that delayed gratification. I think that's huge for everyone in their day to day
big.
life, because you're going to have those temptations if you have addictions and things like that, or I mean, even if you shop a lot, just realizing like, what, I don't need this today, and like, let me hold on to what I really want, which if you shop too much, it's holding on to money. So obviously over 2, 3 months, you're going to realize like, oh my God, this delayed gratification, like I've saved so much money now. Let me go buy the one thing that I've been wanting instead of just buying it right off the spot when you don't have the money. So it's
That's
a
a
good thing
big
to learn.
point. That's a big, big point is that delayed gratification. And, making sure that, yeah, people, if you're struggling with your addictions and delayed gratification, the biggest thing is just letting people know you're struggling. Like, I let Ricky know, man, I'm feeling down on myself, blah, blah, blah. And, he was a good backboard reminder, basically just putting back what I had already said prior, and it's like, all right, you have speed bumps. And then having that community, that support, and you'll see the benefits of that delayed gratification because I think for a lot of addicts it's escaping that baseline of how they're
Hmm.
feeling and not wanting to deal with the present moment and just being okay with it. And there's a lot of ups and downs. You're never going to be perfect because that's this is life. This is part of the lessons. But having these different tools like working out and mental health work and realizing, yeah, it takes some time. And I'm telling you, working out your mental health is just like working out your physical body. Like it's about reps, consistency, and a long term vision. Because yeah, it's you're not going to feel different overnight. You might feel different in the moment, you might feel better in that moment, but the more of those little moments you build up, that momentum, those changes all of a sudden become from like a little snowball to an avalanche. It
Yeah.
starts to move, you start to move mountains in your own life, physically and mentally. And then those little challenges become a lot more tolerable too, like you have a different approach to things. And I think a lot of the US work world, especially in Western US, it's like about speed and moving fast, getting things done. And if folks were really to zoom out a little bit, it's that kind of culture can burn folks out and create all sorts of mental issues. If I think people were just honest with themselves and the pace of the work and the pace of your goal setting and really realize that yeah, it's going to take a little bit longer and that's okay. What's the rush? It's about that consistency, that practice, and that development to create that momentum.
Yeah, I like what you said is like don't like escaping the baseline. I think kind of like how we started this season was like get your pie chart and see what your priorities are. But once you do that, obviously it's okay to change when you need to and whatnot. But set that baseline for the week and
Yeah.
don't deviate from it. I
Yeah,
think that's a huge thing for people to learn.
yeah, and I think that's a great mechanism and tool right there to do it on that weekly basis. Bite size chunk it, and then all of a sudden you'll look back at a year of like, oh wow, every week I did that and I stuck to it,
Yeah,
and that becomes a year of whatever, and it makes it a lot easier. You don't get overwhelmed. You're not beating yourself up because
hmm,
yeah, you're gonna have some bad days. You're gonna have some times where yeah, you're really trying to escape. And hopefully you're developing these tools and mechanisms in the interim that when those times of pressure do come, those high stress moments come, and those low moments come, that you've got the tools to lean on to get you through it,
yeah,
and you know, help
yeah,
rewire your brain.
yeah.
So,
It's all about those small wins.
hmm
It really is. Like
celebrate them.
yeah, like when I first started this whole trying not to drink thing, which God, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, when I really not that I try to stop altogether, but take breaks or trying to find that what's that word? Uh, Alex and James always say it all the time. Moderation. Where you try to find that drinking moderation. Like I didn't have it, so I would try to take 3 months, and then obviously within 2 weeks. it's out the
Back in it.
window, and then it's just like,
Yeah.
you're upset at yourself, and then you're like, why am I even trying? So then it continues to snowball because now you just got down yourself. But once I just started taking it literally a week by a week and celebrating the week and not by the month, because a month is a very long time when you're trying not to drink or use other substances. Um,
Mm.
that has helped a lot. So taking those small steps, having those small wins, and before you know it, that week turned into a month, and especially for me, like literally that day turned into a week, and then that week turned into a month, and then that month turned into a year, and now I'm sitting on 2 years, and it's like it doesn't
That's
seem as
big.
long. Yeah, it doesn't seem as long when you break it down, but when you
Yeah.
put yourself in that outstretched goal, it feels like forever.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and I think that's a great point to double click on is how it feels when you set up those goals of like, I'm gonna be sober for the rest of my life. Well,
yeah,
that becomes very daunting, especially to an addict of whatever substances, because I have my vices, and so does Ricky. And excuse me, but yeah, you take that goal mindset, and it's like, oh my gosh, there's no way, there's
yeah,
absolutely no way. What about this event? What about this? Like, I
yeah.
can't be sober for that.
Yeah,
Like, you know.
exactly. I was in the same boat. I'm like, well, it's homeboy's birthday, so you definitely ain't not drinking,
Yeah,
or it's
yeah,
like it's Cinco de Mayo. I'm drinking, like
yeah.
you would find the excuses throughout the months.
Yep, you find the excuses because they're everywhere. If you want to create an excuse, you can do it for almost anything. Oh
Yep.
wow, the Bears won today. Looks like I'm getting drunk, or
We're going to
like,
Super Bowl. We're getting drunk.
right, yeah, yeah. And, like you're celebrating these other people's wins by deteriorating your own mental health. And it's
Yeah,
like, you talk to any of those athletes, guaranteed they'd be like, "Why are you drinking?" Because like, don't do that,
yeah,
But it's really easy to write that narrative if you don't have that short term goal mindset of like every day is an opportunity to rewrite my baseline. And some things will come and go, and you have to find that balance. And yeah, maybe at some point you peel back and like, okay, I'm at a place now where I don't feel like I need to go and drink as much as I was drinking, or like, have that temptation. And then it's really about like that short-term goal you set for yourself that week. Like if you agree to not do it, then yeah, you may feel like, all right, you can, but it's about sticking to your own plan and
yeah,
making sure that you're taking care of yourself.
dude, that's huge. I knew you're gonna end on that, sticking to it. That used to be my biggest thing. Either it was like not necessarily with my friends, because most of my friends that I would hang out with, it led to drinking, so I'm never gonna not stick to that. But my own relationships, my own personal relationships, or with family or things like that, I would tend to break those sticking to the plan kind of things to go drink or to do whatever, use a vice or something like that. So um, stick to what you decide you're gonna do. Yeah, it's hard, but once you, like how you was saying, once you make that first excuse, it just goes down.
Yeah,
So if you can stick to it and be patient, it's for the best. And I've learned now, like I've gotten to points in my life to where like I want to bail on things and I won't. I'm like, you know what? I said I was going to do this. I'm going to do it. And regardless if I like it or not, I'm going to have to like it because I said I was going to do it. If I didn't want to do it,
yeah,
I wouldn't have said it. So, um, and now that puts me back into that same point. Like I've been in a couple situations where, life is going good. I'm in a good spot. I'm in a good mental health place, good headspace. Um, and so, everyone's drinking. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe a glass of
mm,
wine. Like it's wine. Like why not have a glass of wine? Like come
yeah.
on now. Like I'm,
Why
I'm, I'm in
not?
that little devil on my shoulder. Like bro, it's just a glass of wine. Like you ain't gonna get drunk. You're not even driving. Like
Yeah, yeah,
you could kill a couple bottles before like what's one glass. And then but
yeah.
then the other side of me is like, no, what's the point? Like why am I gonna waste my time sitting here in Dallas, Texas, drinking a glass of wine in some shithole fucking restaurant versus somewhere more like, I wouldn't say that it's more elegant, but somewhere that means more, that has a sentimental value to it. Um, so I was able to like, you know what, I don't need to. And then even when I get to that sentimental place, um, yeah, I don't even do it. Like uh, Mark and I had this side conversations, like we wanted to start this podcast, we wanted to kind of build it up, and I'm moving. Mark has moved out. Um, got his own place, and I'm on that verge of doing it myself. I just got a new transfer to a different location, so things are moving independently for the both of us. And so we were thinking about going to Scotland, and I was like, you know what, I think that would be the place to do it. Obviously Mark's very supportive, like, yeah, that'd be a cool place to do it. Like we've gone so far in our lives, and we're here together. And then just the other day, I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna wait till I move back out again and have my apartment. And it's all set up and like have that first beer or something if that's what I decide to do. And I feel like that has more sentimental value for me because I've gone from being codependent to back to being independent. So
Yeah. And like you said, cross that bridge when you get to it. You
yeah,
know, you may get there and be like, yeah, like what's the point of having,
yeah,
of having the beer, or doing whatever? Because I mean, it's like I tell you, man, I dipped my toes back into the waters, and it just it didn't feel the same, and
yeah,
and the vices no longer felt like a good way to escape. It felt almost like torture because it's like this is something I identified that I didn't need. Tried it out again. It's like, yeah, this doesn't even have the same effect. So
yeah,
you may be surprised. You may just be like, yeah, you know what, like honestly, this just doesn't appeal to me chemically anymore.
yeah. I really think
And
it's not just, seeing people that still do it, seeing those same people that are still in that rut. Like I every day, not almost every day, 5 days a week, I drive by this new bar that's on the side of the street and I see people in there and it's not that I get disgusted or angry, but I just look, I'm like, fuck, bro, like is it that bad to where you have to be at a bar? Like I'm driving to work at 3 in the morning and they're still in there just partying. I'm like, dude, like it's Tuesday and then next day
yeah,
it's Wednesday, and it's not to say it's the same people, but you have that mindset like it's the same people because I'm driving the same route every day. So it's just like, is it really
and
worth it anymore?
yeah, and it's like, yeah, we used to be in those bars,
Yeah,
getting after it like
yeah.
that.
Well, I think it's,
And
I feel that I'm in there, and I'm like,
yeah,
I'm portraying who I used to be. You just not caring about the next day, just wanting to get away from whatever problems you have that are going on mentally and emotionally. So
yeah, and I think that's big because now you're creating a separation of like,
yeah,
objectivity of like, I see that, that's not me, and I'm feeling like, why would they need to do that? Why would I need to do that? That
yeah,
doesn't make sense for me to want to escape like that. And I think that's big. That's that delayed gratification of like being able to drive by and not pull over and grab a drink with them, and
well,
like,
shit, it's 3 in the morning. I'm going to work, bro.
well,
I wouldn't
yeah,
be doing it anyways, but no, I understand what you're saying. Like,
ish. Most people aren't driving to work at 3 a.m. I'm happy you got a different shift. My
I
gosh,
know.
but it's being able to walk by it, see something on the calendar, see something that someone else is doing, and be like, been there, done it. No longer does anything for me,
Yeah,
and if anything, it was holding you back. Because for some people, they may be able to do a few drinks a night,
yeah,
whatever,
yeah, no,
whatever,
yeah,
and but I guarantee you, they aren't loving themselves in the morning, no matter if they're able to do it or not,
yeah,
because that's just the nature of the chemical changes in the body and the brain. And I'm really sensitive to that stuff now. And like, my little bit of depression I was going through the last few weeks is finally starting to go away. And a lot of that is just changing what I was putting in my body, both mentally and physically, and getting back on track and being like, all right, baseline is working out. I want to go into my quarter end for work, working out every day, have that mental attitude of I don't need anything besides myself to get through it. Maybe a little coffee, a little caffeine, and even that's a drug. But
yeah,
besides that, I don't need to rely on other things to get through it, because when I did it, it just caused me more anxiety, caused me more stress, more depression, and then it spirals again. So being able to be like, oh, okay, that's the input and that was my output. Let me change the input to get a different output.
yeah.
Uh,
I like we both said that at the same time.
Jinx,
Yeah, right. You owe me a soda. Is
you
that
owe me
how it
you owe
goes?
me you owe me a Ferrari, bro. I don't know about
Oh,
sodas anymore.
whatever.
Yeah, with
Come
inflation.
and give me the IOU on that. Let's go meet
Yeah,
sometime.
yeah. All right. Well, it could be Matchbox cars. Matchbox
Hey,
cars,
yeah.
they're
Hot Wheels.
collector's items nowadays. Hot Wheels, yeah.
There you go.
That's what they're called.
I was
What's
like,
Matchbox? Is that
Matchbox. That's like I think that's 50s, dude. That's Hot Wheels is my time.
Yeah, Hot Wheels, yeah. I mean, you didn't know this, but I'm 500 years old.
Yeah, like
I
gray
just
in your hair.
Yeah, that's touch of wisdom.
Whatever you
That
want to call it.
that's the wisdom streaks.
All right, bet.
That's the
This is where I
that's
learn calculus.
this
This is
is when
sociology.
sociology. This is mostly geology, probably, bro. That class almost had me flunk out of college. I found an email, yeah, that I wrote to my professor. I was like, I failed this test, blah blah blah. This is my last credit to graduate. And they gave me a C in the class, and I got out of there.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I was like, please. But yeah, I think especially as we transition to summertime too, and this being Mental Health Awareness Month, having the bite-sized pieces, these daily, weekly goals and, accountability metrics, if you want to call them, of the baseline. I like that terminology of how you want to spend your time. I think this is a great opportunity, it being Mental Health Awareness Month. Every day should be Mental Health Awareness Day, but really take it as an opportunity, an invitation from the universe, if you will. If you've been thinking about your mental health and your physical body and how they relate, and you want to dive into it, this is a great opportunity to invite yourself to do that. And maybe next time we'll do our own weekly session so we can show you what our baselines are for the week,
Yeah,
and have an example of how we approach it, and start to share that some more.
yeah.
um
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the, we do talk quite a bit, but we don't really give a lot of examples. So I think if you guys, that's something you guys would like, I'm more than happy to share that with you
yeah,
guys.
and I think it's important too, so folks see that we're not just out here talking, and
Just pulling out of our ass.
yeah, because this is a real, this is real conversation, this is
Yeah,
real vulnerability,
yeah,
and this isn't all easy to talk about. But this is, I think, part of the reason why we did the show is because mental health isn't always an easy thing to talk about, especially for dudes, and especially in public forums. um and rest in peace to our buddy Chris, who suffered with mental health issues. Big inspiration, and having that vulnerability, that place of safety and sanctuary. So if you want to see us, do the list, we can do a maybe a session podcast where we actively do the practice ourselves, and we can show you kind of our ins and outs, and our measurements from the past week of things we're working on, and things that we want to improve on, and really just show you that, like, you can bounce back. Just don't stay down, and
yeah.
don't beat yourself up.
Big Sean. That's the
Big Sean.
when I lived in Houston. Like whenever shit really hit the fan, like I would go on my clarity walks, and I would probably play that song. ha, I don't know, at least 30 times.
Yeah,
And
it's still one of
sometimes
my
I,
favorite songs,
dude, yeah, and even sometimes I would just double back and I would do my walk one more time just so I can listen to that song a few more times.
because
So
that's Big Sean's a great example of someone who's vulnerable in their music. Shout out to Big Sean. Um, One of my favorites. But that song "Bounce Back," if you haven't listened to it, if you like rap, if you like hip hop, even if you don't, check it out.
I mean, just listen to
Um,
the lyrics of it. I mean, not all of them are gonna be likable to some people, but his
the
baseline message,
message,
yeah, it's there.
yeah. I still listen to that song probably once a week when I'm having a down day. It's like, all right,
Yeah,
you gotta bounce back. You
yeah.
wake up the next day, you start anew, and you get going, and you move
Count that
on with
check.
it. That's right. That's
I gotta count
that's
that check. That's all that matters at the end of the
that's right. Make sure those checks cleared.
day.
But yeah, and make sure that you find your balance, you find your baseline, and you work hand in hand with what you're seeing. And I think, if I can just say it again, don't beat yourself up when you're having a downtime. Reach out to your community, those places, those people, those tools that you were developing, and need to change your environment, change the way your house is organized, change the way your office is laid out, change how you do your routines until you find a place where you can have that balance. Stick to your baseline
Yeah.
and bounce back. Shout out Big Sean. If you
Do
ever
it
want, if
one
he
more
wants to,
time.
yeah, Big Sean, if you're listening, you know what? I'm gonna DM him this episode. Fast forward to the 38-minute mark.
Yep.
Um,
See
but
where it goes.
yes, see where it goes. Um, but yeah, I think, welcome to Mental Health Awareness Month. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
I don't know, Ricky. You have anything else you want to add?
Yeah. I mean, I know we talked a lot about, exercising the body and how that works for the mind, but, we really didn't speak on how to just exercise the mind
Mm, mm,
without doing it, obviously, mentally or physically. So a couple of things that I do, I'll just read them off here because I have them listed. Um, One of my favorites that I've been doing since I lived in San Francisco, holy crap, 2010. Um, I used to walk Golden Gate Park, and I would walk that thing for like 3 hours, um, and just clear my mind. I used to listen to like low house tech music, like nothing like crazy upbeat, but someone with a low beat and like a nice soft voice. And I would listen to that, and I would walk it for like 3 hours. And still to this day, typically after my therapy, or at least once a month, I'll do one long walk just to clear my mind. So that's one for me. Journaling has become a huge one. Finding it has been a good one. Meditating,
mm, mm-hmm.
and then just reading instead of watching TV. I mean, a lot of the TV we watch is, not necessarily good for your mental health, especially if it's like reality TV. So, reading a self
Yeah.
help book, or, just finding a good book. My therapist recommended the book The Alchemist. Great book. I recommend it to anybody, even just trying to fall in a small escape. Still has a great message to it. Um, and that's my way of kind of like escaping that reality and taking a step back to relax. Um, and I think another big thing is speaking it to an existence.
Mm.
Just saying it out loud and hearing yourself say it has really been a big thing for me. It's just like, I don't need that. Or one of the ones I learned in my meditation was, when you're having those thoughts or you're having those feelings emotionally, it's just saying the word change out loud. And
Oh,
yeah, just saying it, like, you already think about, well, what's the change? Like, you can't just say change without thinking what's the difference of how you feel versus what you could feel.
yeah.
So that's been a big newfound inspiration for me, is being able, because I'm in those spots a couple days. I wouldn't say a couple days or a couple weeks, but every day you're gonna be in there a couple times. So just saying change and letting it
I like
go,
that.
and then just keep walking. Um, so those have been huge for me. Um, and just taking a year, like, I always thought like it needed to be instant. I'm gonna change now, and my life needs to change. Like, you understand, give it a year. You know, get your
Hmm.
finances right, get your health right, get your mental health right. Find those friends that are going to be there for you in that positive manner, and give it a year, and then see where you're at. And I guarantee you, your life is going to be 1,000 times different.
I like that. I like the speaking it into existence, and the word change is a good mechanism for your brain to think, all right, what's the change that I'm looking for, and then sticking to it.
Yeah.
And that rolls into like manifestation in terms of, you know, you create that reality, and that's not woo woo. That's just like, if you pay attention to the thoughts that you're speaking out loud and internally, and your external reality will start to reflect what you're projecting and putting out there. And, I really do. I mean, I live alone, so I speak to myself quite a bit, but a lot of it is
You
like,
might want to go check that out. Get that
yeah.
checked
Yo, shout out to,
out.
what's up, Mark?
Yeah, Mark 2.0.
Mark 2.0. Yeah, he's standing over there.
Hey man, you
I
gotta
mean,
clean up your dishes, bro. It's getting
that's right. Well,
bad.
part of it too, it's like, if not now, then when? And, if not me, then who? Especially when I'm living by myself. It's like, yeah, those messes are mine, that thing's mine. And, I love that practice of speaking it out loud. I mean, oftentimes I'll do it in the gym, obviously when no one's there, but I'm like, you're doing good. This is good, like good lift. Good shit, dude. Let's go. And, sometimes I accidentally say it out loud even when people are there, and they're like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
'Cause it's
Like,
like
is he talking to me? Does he live
so it
here?
works. It works both ways, because they think they're getting a compliment. You're out here complimenting yourself.
Yeah.
Everyone starts to feel good.
Hey, that's
But
a
no,
good
I
way
think,
of doing it.
I mean, look, you live and you learn. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think those mental health practices, yeah, for me, definitely. And I journal probably, a few times a week, definitely once a week. I'll do a big journal session, especially I'll write it out, I'll meditate on it. If it's things that I'm trying to let go, I have a journal that's my release journal that's labeled release notes. And then I have my
Mm.
keep journal that's like my gratitude notes. And that way, when my release journal, when it gets full, I usually end up burning it or shredding it. But I literally like will physically remove it from this world in one way or another. And I mentally envision that energy that all those things that stress me out, that as it burns or as I shred it, whatever it is, that comes back to me as a positive energy, and I'm regaining that in my head and in my own kind of existence
Yeah.
of where I'm putting my attention and where I'm putting the energy in, and get rid of those things that are pulling me down.
That's crazy,
Um,
because I did the same thing. I would do
see,
post-it notes, and I would write down whatever ugly feeling I felt, or however felt. I would write it down, and I would put it in a Ziploc bag. And then at the beginning of the year, I just lit a fire and I dumped it all in there. I just let it all go.
yep,
That's
see,
crazy.
and that speaks to, if we can get all woo woo if we want in another episode, but I will say that's a big kind of ritualistic belief too in a lot of different cultures. Fire being that purification method,
Hmm.
and there's
Just don't go
something
back to
about that.
Salem.
Yep.
We ain't talking about
Yeah.
no witch trials here.
I mean,
Don't bring
yeah,
that shit
like,
back.
yes. Well, I mean, I wasn't gonna bring it back,
Hey,
but
hey, just had to say it.
for our listeners out there, yeah. But journaling, meditating, deep breaths. I do like 4 seconds in through the nose, I hold for 6 and 8, and then out through the mouth for 8 seconds. Just slow, controlled, and gets that shallow breathing. And just visualize that stress kind of getting out of my body, that new energy coming in. And I always like to think about like quantum physics and the observation of particles, right? Where they split the particle and they observe it. And when they observe it, the particle vibrates, it moves, it'll be in a different spot. And then if it's unobserved, it basically will stay in the same. So, watch where you're putting your attention, your energy, and what you're observing as you're going throughout your day. Is it beneficial?
Mm-hmm.
Is it stressful? Are you choosing to live in a world of stress by having those repetitive thoughts? Or can you catch yourself, look at those thoughts, write them down, get them out your head, and move on with your day and see how much lighter you feel.
Yeah,
And
I like
you
that.
know and constantly checking in with myself. If I feel tension in my body, I'm like, where's that coming from? Why is that an issue? How can I, do I either accept it, can I change it, or do I embrace it? And you have to pick a lane. And another one I like is, I invite the present moment as if it's something that I invited and created. Even if it maybe emotionally or physically doesn't feel good, I like to envision that this is something that I manifested and needed, and what's the lesson to be learned? If I'm stressing or tense, this is the where I'm supposed to be. No need to have the stress. And what am I learning? What am I getting out of that situation?
Yeah, and I think being able to look into the light like that and fixing the problem or addressing the problem and be able to find a solution for it, that's, you're making yourself smarter. That's just you're adding to your mental health IQ.
Hmm.
I
I
guess you
like
could
that.
say, like now you know how to fix the problem. So next time it shows around, you know the solution, and then you keep
It gets
fighting all those
easier and
bigger problems.
easier.
Yeah, exactly. I like
Yep.
that.
Yeah. And we could talk more about that too. I think maybe in another episode of maybe the life day in the life, and I'll do some journaling as I go through of like, oh yeah, this is what I said, this is what happened.
Yeah,
um but yeah, I think mind body connection is probably one of the more important aspects of the overall journey, and having that ability to reflect, and don't be afraid to look at your shadows, and don't let those shadows grow.
yeah. Don't let your fear set your limitations.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yep.
big. Yeah.
All right.
I think that's pretty much where we ended out. I'm gonna leave you guys with something. One thing that has held me back for a long, long time is don't doubt yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever you are in your situations, wherever you are in your life, wherever you are, even in your goals, um, you can do it. Anyone can do
You
it.
got this.
Yeah,
We love you. You gotta love yourself.
yeah,
We love you. Support each other, and don't doubt yourself. I love that. I
yeah,
think that's great.
yeah.
And if you're tuning in, listening, you listened to the whole thing, thank you. You made it through. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks for listening to us
Uh,
talk.
yeah.
Like, are
Hopefully,
these guys
hopefully it
ever
was
gonna end?
helpful. Yeah.
I'm tired of this.
Let us know if it's too long, if it's too short. But no, we appreciate it. And
Yeah,
share with your friends, share with your family, share with yourself. Listen to it. Take hopefully one of the golden nuggets and apply it this week. See how you do. See how you feel. Let us know how it's going and where you're at in your own journey if you want to share. But this is just the start of building a community of people just expressing how they're feeling and getting it done. We're just two dudes dealing with it and getting it done.
that's
So
right.
thanks for tuning in. Episode 4,
Yeah, thank you.
Mind, Body. Take care.
All right, bye. How do I get out of here? Oh, here we go. Everyone's gonna be like, "What the fuck are these guys doing?" All right,
Yeah,
this is official. We are now leaving.
yeah, we're leaving. See ya. Bye
Bye.
bye. Thanks again.